Hello and welcome to This is Metal with Tom Collier. We're getting ready to wrap up the season for 2023. We're going to start doing new episodes in January of 2024, kicking off the new year. What a great way. Now, Tom, we were supposed to have a guest today, but he ended up not being able to do it. So we're going to reschedule him for another date in January. So Tom and I thought we'd do it at show anyways, and we're going to talk about kind of a year-end wrap-up show and talk about some of our favorite episodes. So I'll let you start. Tom, what are some of your most memorable shows?
I thought having Jessica Hill on was very good. I enjoyed her. The two people that really stuck out to me was Jessica Hill and the Devil Dolls. They were really great, and both are signed with, not just because they're signed to the record label, but they were fun and they were totally different. Jessica Hill had such a great, attitude, just very spunky and stuff. And then the guys came on from Devil Dolls and they were full dress, face mask stuff. It was a really cool interview. I mean, what was some of your favorites?
Well, that was definitely one of them, and pretty much for the reasons you said. Now, I had heard of the band Jessica Hill. I'll sit here and be honest, I could not name a single song, but I had heard the name before a couple years back. It was an all-girl band, and the lineup has changed a little bit, and Jessica is the main front person in the band, a featured artist. And I was aware that when we did the interview that she had appeared on she appeared on one of those talent shows, X Factor, and it's amazing watching her performance on that, and you can see the versatility of what she has the ability to sing. She's like many metal singers. She can sing the highest metal note and then also do something that's very angelic sounding.
Oh yeah, incredible. It's very versatile. I call her a female Ronnie Dio. She's just
yeah. That's another thing that came up in the interview. I think I used that very line. I said, Jessica, you're kind of the female Dio to me. And she says, oh, let me tell you about what a huge influence he was. And then she showed us she had a Dio tattoo on her.
Yes,
and that right, is literally that wearing your influences on your sleeve. And
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's just right there. And I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Yep. And having Rhino on, who's actually he's drumming with me now, but Rhino's Angels of Babylon and former drummer for Man of War. Rhino is one of the nicest guys. Him and his wife were I got a chance to spend time with them. They're both going to be in California. You'll get to meet them out there, hang out with them. They are the nicest people in the world. People in metal don't realize that we all have this bad attitude that we're badasses and doing, and talking about that. Rhino's a good Christian. He's a great guy. And it's just, people like that, they stick out in your life, and I'm proud to have
the Rhino interview that originally posted just a couple of weeks ago. That's also one of our more popular episodes. And again, I'm sure it has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of people know Rhino from his Man of War days. And Angels of Babylon. But that's just what I'm talking about. So he didn't come on to talk about his Man of War days. He came to talk about his new project, Angels of Babylon, which you guys signed a Fire Rock music group. And I love the fact that he's talking about what he's doing now. And absolutely. So, and the fact that was such a popular episode tells me people know who he is. They're aware he's a metal legend, and so they also very interested in what he's doing now.
And they don't realize he's a great singer. Actually, hiring him to sing. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And he's actually going to, I'll just say it right here now. He's going to be playing on the new Held Hostage album as the drummer for us. He's going to drum the album.
Ask Tom, in regards to the new Held Hostage, do you have a release date for that?
I don't. So I go through this every year and people laugh. The whole album was written.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Tom went through this great writing frenzy, and I wrote five new songs, and I've shoved 5 off, and I may end up redoing the whole thing. It was Great American Rock. I had the whole album written. And only out of 12 songs, I think only 4 songs for the original album made it. 8 of them I wrote out real quick and brought them on there. And I'm doing the same thing right now. And I go through this when I'm getting ready to go in the studio, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm telling everybody, hang on. And I'm recording my home 24 track. And my bass player, who never compliments anything, I love Dave. He leaves rehearsal the other night. He said, "This is the best stuff you've ever written." He said, "Tom, I thought Great American Rock." He said, "I can't get these songs out of my head." He said, "I'm driving. I can't wait to play them live. I can't wait to."
Well, that's what I tell people. I've known Tom a few years, and all the Held Hostage stuff really has impressed me. I mean, I remember a few years ago when you had the Epic album out, and that was kind of the talk of the town. Everybody's talking about that album, and as great as the album thought, a lot of people thought, okay, how the hell do they top that? But you managed to do that. And now, like you said, every time you got it, okay, you're gonna be able to do it again. We're gonna top this. I mean, a great American rock to me is kind of the equivalent to Def Leppard's Hysteria. I say that because not only are all the songs uh, great, but it's like, Def Leppard, they had a huge hit with Pyromania, and then Rick Allen loses his arm, and the album takes a little longer to make and come out, because you got to learn how to play the drums all and everything. And just when people thought Def Leppard was down, because you remember when that Hysteria album first came out, it stalled a little bit until they released Pour Some Sugar on Me. And then you see, like with Def Leppard and Hysteria, wow, they're still great at what they do. They're able to stay on top.
And one thing I tell the bands is the president of the record label, they're like, well, oh, this is a great album. Can't we re-release it? I said, why don't you do what I do and what I tell every artist who comes here, go out and write better songs. You've got it in you. Don't write filler songs. When I write an album, I think every song is the best song. And I said, you should go in there with the attitude. And my friends in the Zero Kings, they're writing a new album, and I think you might see them guys come out on Fire Rock. You don't know. I mean, I hate to say things like that, but Mike is really high on them, and they sent me over a song that I was blown away by. I was like, let's hear what else, man. These guys there's a lot of bands out there that can do that if they get the right mindset.
With the right push, with the right push.
Some of these people think the best is behind you.
Yeah.
I think the best is in front of me. I think after I write Rescue Me, this album, I think I'm going to come out. My next album is going to be even better. I'm just going to be thinking about it.
You always do, Tom. And the thing is, the thing with that, you got to have a passion. And I'll tell my honest opinion, any band that's going to have real kind of a long-term career, I think the key is in the songwriting, because you could have the flashiest lead guitar player, but if it's just kind of like Yngwie Malmsteen style, like just notes, he's great at what he does. I'm not cutting him down, but my point is, you got to have some taste behind the songs. It's got a be more of just a little flashy soloing. It's got the songs got to have depth, and I think that's Held Hostage to me is one of those bands that too. You have that kind of future because you're always improving on your songwriting. The songwriting is key, and I think even though you've had different lineups, you've been the one constant. You're the one principal songwriter. So even though you have different people coming in and out of the band, you're the principal songwriter. So the band still has that steady sound.
And so what's going on is the music continues to evolve from epic to great American rock. When you hear this, Dave said, this doesn't sound, it sounds like Held Hostage, but it's just like Held Hostage on steroids. He said, I can't believe these songs, I can't wait to get them out. I mean, I just wrote a song called Get Ready. And I'm telling you, you're going to be like, wow, everybody's going to be shocked when they hear this album, because I've got a couple real ballads, acoustic ballads to some stuff that, Megadeth should be doing, that I wrote. It's just coming out of me. And I love that part. And I encourage my bands to do that too.
Yeah.
Bring out the best in each other, don't cut each other down, build each other up,
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then, the last kind of Held Hostage question I want to ask right now is, I believe you said the first single you plan to release is, you've been working on a theme song for our very show, This Is Metal here.
It's done.
And when do you think we might, did I hear right that there might be a music video?
There'll definitely be a music video, and we're gonna have to get you in that.
Okay, we'll do what we can.
And we're gonna get Leith in there too,
Yeah.
We're gonna get us all together, but in fact, while we're out in California, we may shoot a little bit of video out there.
That's cool. I can't wait. And what Tom's talking about is Held Hostage is going to be performing once again at the annual Metal Hall of Fame.
Yes, and then at the Metal Allegiance House of Blues with Metal Allegiance the next night, and then we'll be down to the NAMM show. But we're going to get some video of you while you're there. And
that's cool. And Tom, we should let the people know that you played this event the last couple years, and it's the Hall of Fame to me is a really great thing. And I think more people just need to know about it, and they're getting bigger and bigger every year. But I want to let the people listening to this know that Pat, the guy who is the head of the Hall of Fame, he's going to come on and do an episode with us probably around February of next year. So people look out for that.
Yeah, and it'll be great because we're going to do a recap of the show, because the best thing is that I'll be there. You will have met him and stuff like that. It makes a whole difference, I mean. It's great, but he's just got to get through the show right now. It's just crazy, but he's agreed to come on, and that's a great thing. I mean, Eddie Trunk's going to be my good friend. Ripper Owens is getting inducted.
That's cool. Mick Mars, Carlos Cavazo,
Mick Mars, Carlos Cavazo. It's just a really cool thing. But to induct Eddie Trunk, I mean, Eddie's 40, he just had his 40-year birth party in
I think he
Vegas.
deserves it. Yeah, yeah.
He does, anybody does, and he's been emceeing it from the beginning. Eddie's
See,
been there.
he's really one of those guys that transitioned from what he used to be, just being on the radio to doing TV
MTV,
shows
the
and everything, and
Headbangers Ball and stuff. Yep,
hosting these events and doing these cruises. So, I mean,
yep.
how cool would that be if you could get that type of events to host?
Absolutely. Yep. So he's going to be there. He's been there every year. I met him last year. He's a really nice guy too. He's a great guy. And
Seems like it.
Kathy Rankin's his co-host, and Kathy is an incredible singer. She's a TV personality, an actor. I mean, she's really great and a radio personality. The people out there are so nice. When I met Kathy, her and I bonded immediately because she was helping veterans. She came out and she said, "You're the guy that was picking up helping veterans and stuff." I said, "Absolutely." So when I came home on Veterans Day, I did a big salute to the veterans. And Kathy came up, she did this great video for us and put it on the screen. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody she went through and talked about the veterans, what she was done and what it meant to her to be in America. It was just great. I mean, the veterans were crying on stage.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And we should let people know that, you and I book a lot of the guests that come on the show, most of them, but to put on an episode like this, oftentimes you're working with different people behind the scenes, such as published. Bands usually have a publicist that set up their interviews and stuff, and so that's how we get a lot of people come on the show. I have many people like one of the publicists I worked with for several years is Chip from Chipster PR, and they got a lot of the big established acts that I've interviewed over years. Like I've interviewed Albert Bouchard like at least 3 times. He's a very cool guy, always down to earth. So, Chipster PR, Jody Beast, she's another Michael Brandville. These are people that help us put on this show, and we couldn't do it by ourselves.
Well, we got Foghat through Michael Brandwell, didn't we?
He represents them, and
he represents us. He represents my record label too.
Yeah. So it's really good. You got all these. I mean, like your photographer, Scott Braun, he did an episode with us, and so that was a lot of fun because besides just having musicians come on, we want to have people like Scott that's a photographer, because it's a different aspect of a business. It's a different. It's not something you would typically see a photographer being interviewed, but we got that side. We got that side of his story, about what's it like to be a rock photographer.
Absolutely. The other thing we should talk about is the This Is Metal CD that's going to come out. The release. It's going to be a digital release on Fire Rock, and like we had spoke about that, our A&R guy Mike Wilkerson is now working on bands to figure out unsigned bands we'll put on there. We're going to give an opportunity, and what are we going to call it? We haven't figured out yet. Volume 1, or
I think I think I'll see if I can come up with a better title, but tentatively, like the This Is Metal playlist. And the reason for that is what we're looking to do is like pick probably about 10 bands to go on this. It's going to be a digital CD, and so people could go and download. And then we're going to make shows, episodes of This Is Metal around this release, and we're going to have
the bands on, right?
Bands. These 10 bands will get to come on and talk about their track, what it was like taking part in the competition, and we're putting the final details together. But another thing Tom and I talked about, so there's going to be 10 bands on the list,
which we will pick. I and Leith will pick. Mike's gonna narrow down to 24, so we're gonna pick the top 10.
So we're gonna pick basically top 10 CD, and people can check out different songs. We want people to go on and comment on what they think of the different songs, and hopefully they can check out the bands. And another thing Tom and I kind of mentioned, we're kind of getting all the details together. We thought it'd be cool. We picked 10 bands. Maybe we pick each of those 10 bands will be from a different country. So we might have a band from Canada. We might have a band from the US, Britain, different parts of the world, kind of represent the different parts of the world. And I think that would make for, because I can imagine bands from different parts of the world, you get a very different sounding music.
Yeah, absolutely. We might have a Southern rock sounding band and a death metal band that make it. We don't know. It's going to be a really cool CD. I think.
And here's another thing. We're going to, when we get this all legal, we're going to put up a detailed announcement of this competition. And the other thing people should know, well, why should our band even compete for? Well, maybe you have a chance of being one of the 10 bands picked. And even for the bands that don't make it onto the CD, we're still going to do features with them. Tom was talking about the Fire Rock Music Group. May give them a development deal, not necessarily a record deal, but say, we think you guys, even though your track maybe didn't get picked to go on the CD, we can feature it still also on our site. We're going to work with you how to write songs and develop this band. So there is that opportunity as well.
And I may even at some point, because I produce my own band and produce other bands, I'll help them with productions, arrangements for free. I mean, we're going to give them some advice. We're going to give them invaluable advice for them. You know, that
I tell people like anybody who gets a chance to work with Tom, because not only is he like a record company president, he's a musician himself. He's lived the life, and most important people should know, like, if Tom has any suggestions on songwriting, he's a principal songwriter, like I said, and he's had many of his songs like nominated for Grammys. Many of them have been on the Billboard chart. So why wouldn't you want to take advice from a guy like that?
Yeah, and free.
Yeah.
We just want to help bands. You know, that's what Fire Rock is all about. When I became president and they asked me to step in, I said, it's got to be about the bands. I'm a musician. I mean, I want the label to do good,
Of
but
course.
the bands I want to do better. The bands have to.
And I think it's a team effort, meaning if the bands do well, the label does well. If everybody's getting along. Yeah.
And we're giving some bands chances that I wouldn't have found these guys, but Mike I have to give Mike kudos, our A&R guy. He's found some great bands, and I'll tell you, we've signed a bunch of new bands that one we're signing, I think we just sent out the deal memo and they're accepting it. And I think these guys are radio hits.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
we've got some bands out there. We've brought in a lot of female vocalist bands where he's finding bands that are different and unique. I mean, I'll tell you a great band too, other than Double Dolls, the Fast Mothers.
Oh yeah,
Those guys
their
from
episode should
Memphis.
be coming up in early January. So
Yes.
and then next week we're gonna premiere our Foghead episode with the bass player Rodney O'Quinn. Before we end today's show, Tom and I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season, and we'll see you again in 2024.
Merry
Thanks, Tom.
Christmas, guys.
Have a great holiday.
All right,
Bye-bye.
buddy.